Hi, this is Rachelle at Scrapcraftastic, and I have a small Dollar Tree haul. I've picked up several pouches from Dollar Tree because I am going to attempt to make the viral pouch cover, traveler's notebook cover that is very popular right now. And it's been a while since I've been really interested in something that I've seen online in the stationery planner community. So I wanted to give it a try. So I went to Dollar Tree to see what I could find. I wasn't sure where people were buying their pouches, but I went to my local Dollar Tree and I picked up a few pouches. So I just want to share what I got and some of my ideas for using these. These are probably the more typical pouch that you would see, especially now that it's back to school season. And if you're going to do this, I think now is a great time to do it because you'll see different products available that may not be available the rest of the year. I picked these up even though they have the grommets on them that are made for adding this to a three-ring binder. I thought that I could still do something with these, maybe just cut the grommet area off and then they could still be folded in half and made into a notebook. So with that in mind, this notebook cover would be, let's see, 4 3/4 by about 6 1/4. So I think this would work great with a 4 by 6 notebook. That's if this bottom part was cut off and you see it's stitched on the bottom. So if I cut right along the edge of where that stitching is, I could do a nice 4 by 6. But then as I was sitting looking at these, I got several colors. I don't think I got every colorway, but I think I got most of the colorway of all of what I picked up. The actual size of the pouch is 9.84 inches by 7.48 inches. I have this 2025 Blue Sky. I was actually going to donate this to Goodwill, but I'm thinking I'm going to keep it because it's coming in handy for some other things that I'm working on. But I'm just using this as an example because it is 4 by 6. So if I were to trim off this bottom piece, that would fit in there great. It would make a great cover. Yeah, I could just add the elastics, put it on elastics, and voila. So these, even though they have the grommets on them, these can still be used. So that would make a 4 by 6. Then, again, I keep jumping around because I'm excited about this. I was playing around with these, and then I thought, well, what if, even though I didn't get two of the same color, I think these two could work together well. I would want the pink on the front. What if I found a way to connect these two? Then I would have a nice pouch on the front, a nice pouch on the back, and I'm not sure that the elastics would be strong enough to hold these two together in place, or if I would need to adhere them somehow, maybe sew them in the middle, in between the grommets. Let me know what you think in the comments below. We may revisit this at a later time, but I'm thinking I could connect these and create a larger cover. Right. So if I did that, then that would make these big enough to use for an A5 or half letter size cover. And you may not know what I'm talking about, but I'll show you as we move on. And I'm sure you've seen this. If you've been on social media, you've seen it. This is A5-ish or half letter-ish size. It doesn't have the best um, coil on it, but if I were to connect these two somehow, like this, and maybe the pink would go on the outside, then I could make a notebook cover that has two separate zippers, okay, and put my notebook on the elastics like that and have something for a larger notebook. So we're gonna play around with that idea, okay? Then I found these. These don't have any poly or plastic material or vinyl material. These are strictly mesh bags. The zipper is not on the top. The bag is 10.63 inches by 7.68 inches. So I'm thinking if I were to use this as the cover, I don't know if it would be big enough to fit a B6. Again, there's no plastic here, unless you just think about the zipper. These are strictly mesh. Now, this is a Dollar Tree planner. It's not the original planner that I loved so much back in the day. This is the student version, but it is very minimal on the inside, as you can see. The main difference between this, other than it being a student version where it's half the year, the main difference is the original Dollar Tree planner that ran from January to December, and it was B6-ish size, had a header space up top, which I love because it added room for me to be able to decorate. But this doesn't have the header, it just has this space down at the bottom. That was one of the differences, and also the weekend was split on the original Dollar Tree planner. Here you have a full weekend. That's nice. That's a nice feature. So I guess getting rid of the header gave more room for the weekend, and it also allows for this um, calendar space at the bottom. I think this is a little cleaner than it usually is for the student planner. So I may play around with this one. We'll see. Anyway, I picked this up for size reference. I think it might be a little too big. Maybe if I took it out of the cover, it could work. I don't know that it's a true 5 by 7. Maybe that won't work. Maybe I would need something smaller. But it says it's 10.63 inches. So if it's over 10 inches, then why isn't it fitting like it should? Maybe they're including this tab bit. That was another thing I liked about this, is that it has this little tab thing, even though I don't think it's appropriate for holding a pen. Um, let's see. It's got the, but if there's a clip on your pen, you could hook it on. It would be in the front though, because I would want the zipper on the outside, accessible on each side. But I mean, you could probably put something smaller in. Yeah, a 4 by 6 would work. So again, the 5 by 7 U6 size wouldn't work, but a 4 by 6 would. But that is another option. Again, these are all from Dollar Tree. And these are the colors that I got. So I got the pink, or the peachy color. I don't know if that's supposed to be pink or peach. I think it's more peachy. The light blue and the lavender or purple color. So that was those three colors. And I showed you the colors of the vinyl. And you can decorate. I've seen people putting pins and puffy stickers and stickers on these. I was thinking more of along the lines of using vinyl and cutting something with Cricut to put on, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, these come in like neon colors. And again, I think there was one other color that I didn't get. I was trying to be conservative with my purchases. And finally, these are the actual pouches that I think most people are using to make their traveler's notebook covers or notebook covers. I don't know what they're calling them, but basically they're made like a traveler's notebook where you add the strings and a closure. So I think they had one other color in this as well that I didn't get, but I got the black, the pink, and the blue color. These pouches, these are nice. These would make nice project bags too. These are 13.78 by 9.84 inches mesh zipper bag. So all you would do is fold these in half, poke your holes, add your elastic for your strings on the inside and a closure, and you have a nice notebook cover with built-in storage space. So as far as the size, this will hold an A5 half letter easily. Okay. So this is my Lockbee, which is an A5. You can kind of see the size comparison, maybe very similar in size. Okay. And this is the A5 half letter version. Let's see. I have notebooks in here. This is the original Lockbee notebook that came with this. So it's definitely A5 and it will fit in there. No problem. Okay. So that's what we're going to be working on. We're going to set one of these up. I don't know if the Cricut vinyl would work on this because of the texture on here. If anyone has tried it, let me know in the comments how it worked out. I don't know if I should just start with the pink or the black. I may end up just using the blue as is as a pouch. Let's go with the black for now. Let's go ahead and take this off. These are Jot brand again from Dollar Tree, $1.25 each. There's some of the information. If you want to look on the app and see if you can find it. I don't know if that's coming in clear. Um, yeah. Now I've seen people put the zipper in the back. I don't know about that. I guess that makes kind of good sense. But regardless of what side the zipper is on, based on how it's made, once you put the elastics in, you'll still be able to open it. You can't, it's a little difficult to zip with it folded, but with it open, and there's nothing that's going to be keeping it closed 100%, then you should still be able to open it. So, all right. So let's just find our center. That's going to be our main setup area. So I'm just going to crease this as well as I can. I gotta find my eyelets. And I'm gonna be installing eyelets on this. I'm gonna be using crocodile or crocodile to do that. I will link to all the supplies that I can in the description box below. You can also check out my Amazon shop that has pretty much everything that I purchase on Amazon that I use for crafting in it. I'm going to be using elastic. You can get elastic from Walmart. We don't have a Joann anymore, but maybe Hobby Lobby or even Michael's. You can also order it from Amazon, which there will be a link for that as well. You can get eyelets from Michael's. You can order them online. Or you don't have to use eyelets. I've seen it done both ways, with eyelets, without eyelets. I've seen the string configuration two different ways. I've seen it where they stack the holes. So there would be a hole here and a hole here, and I've seen it where they put the holes next to each other. I prefer the next to each other because when you put one at top and one at bottom, let me show you that. So this is a standard size traveler's notebook. So you have the holes stacked on each other instead of next to each other. So what that does is make one of the strings a little shorter. So when you have that shorter string, it adds a little more tension when you put a notebook or whatever you're going to put on that shorter string because your notebook is really sized for the larger string. Hopefully that makes sense. So I have everything in this on the larger string, and I also have a jump band in here. So a jump band is an extra elastic that will allow you to put more notebooks or inserts in your traveler's notebooks. But I just wanted to show you that these holes are stacked and the holes on my locky, if you can see that, are next to each other. And this uses eyelets where, because this is real leather, I think it's unnecessary to use the eyelets, I guess. They don't use the eyelets on the Travelers Company notebook. All right, hopefully all of that made sense. Let's get back to this. Let's go ahead and mark it up. I'm going to use my Lockbee notebook as a guide since it's pretty much a true A5. And I'm kind of going to eyeball this because we do have grid on the mesh here to make it a little easier to see what's happening. I'm going to use my Sharpie pen to make my marks. So I'm just going to put a little dot at the top and bottom of the sides of this notebook. Okay. So that's my center point. I want to find the center going the other way because that's where we're going to put our closure elastic. Now you can put the closure elastic on the edge here. You might not want to put it in the middle of the back because, well, it's the front, but if you might not want to put it here because that's going to remove the use of this pouch area. I've seen people put it on the edge. I'm just going to do like how most faux dories are. They used to be called Midoris. And when people would make their own, they called them faux dories. I'm going to go with the faux dory style and put my elastic in the middle because I don't want to lose the use of the back pouch area. So for instance, this is from MLG and Co. It would be considered a faux dory, and the elastic closure is in the center. Now, this had a wide spine, so I have one, two, three, four elastics on the inside. Okay. So this is kind of like a custom order. Um, but yeah, the elastic is in the middle of the back. Back to the original Traveler's Notebook, the elastic is in the middle of the back, not on the spine. So that's the difference. But again, if I put it in the middle, it's going to limit the use of that pocket, that pouch space. So we're not going to do that. Just want to show you and give you all the information so that you understand why we're doing what we're doing. If you want your notebooks to fit a little tighter, you can move the the eyelet space down just a hair. I wouldn't do it too much because it's going to put too much tension on your notebooks, and it will probably start ripping through the paper of your notebook. All right, so now that we have our center decided upon, I am going to go over about a quarter of an inch on either side for the top and bottom, and that's where I'm actually going to put the eyelet. So it's going to be over here and over here. And on this one, that looks kind of off center to me. It's kind of difficult with this to get it exactly right. I guess it is because it's not, no, it's not completely a flat surface. So this is where my eyelet would go, and then this is where my eyelet would go. And then the center is the center. Now we're going to punch the holes and set the eyelets. Okay, so here is my crocodile. This is what it looks like. Use it to punch the holes and set the eyelets. These are the eyelets. Since this is black, I would use black or white eyelets. I pretty much have all the colors, but I think I'm going to use the black ones. So that's these, and I'm going to need 5 sets. So, so I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the back pieces. And these are fairly inexpensive. I ordered these online because I wanted to have a bunch of different colors. But again, you can probably find these in Walmart, on Amazon, pretty much anywhere. Okay. I also have some, in this case, this is the ones that I started with. And then this is the instructions on the settings because the crocodile, this is the big bite actually, crocodile. But the crocodiles, they have different settings depending on the type of eyelets that you're using. So I always keep this so that I know what setting. These are 3/16 eyelets. So based on that, 3/16 eyelets with washers, I need to set it at A2, the top at A, the base at 2. So I never remember, so I always keep those instructions close by so that I can reference them. Making sure that my hole punch is at the 3/16 mark, which I can look up here and confirm. And then I need to set this top piece at A, which it is. And then the bottom one needs to be on 2, and it is. So these little pieces here can move around so they can twist like so. So I just want to make sure I'm on the 2 and snap that back down into place. Okay. And it also has a ruler here and a guide where you can adjust as needed. I usually don't really use that, but it's there if you need it. And I would say versus the handheld, I don't think I have a handheld close by where I can reach it easily. But if you're going to be setting a lot of eyelets, I would suggest getting the big bite and not even worrying with the handheld because the big bite can do what the handheld does and then some. So let's go ahead and test out punching this first hole. So I'm just lining that my dot up as best as I can. This is kind of slippery. So there's the hole. It doesn't punch all the way through because of the mesh. So let's cut that off. All right. So this is, I'm going to consider this the outside where the fold is like a mountain, and then the valley of the fold is on the inside. So let's go ahead and put the eyelet in, back piece on. And so I'll get this back in here without that back piece falling off. We're going to push this up so we don't punch another hole and line this up on the base. Let's try this differently. I think we need to cut that off. We're going to put the back washer down so that it's already on the crocodile. Let's cut off this excess. I try to show all the little details that you probably won't see in other videos of things that might make a difference. All right, and let's try this again. Set that in there. So that's a nice set. Let's hope we can get the same set for the next 4 holes. All right, let's go ahead and punch these holes. Okay, that's it. So if you don't have, let me see, I think I need some alcohol to get this off. If you don't have a crocodile, there are other eyelet setting tools. You could probably find them in the hardware department, Home Depot, Harbor Freight, Lowe's, places like that. Maybe even in the hardware section in Walmart. But there are other ways. You don't have to drop a bundle to get this done. And again, as I mentioned before, you could just punch the holes with an awl or a pokey tool. So like this is an awl. You could just punch the holes with something like this or something like this. I don't know if they still sell these at Dollar Tree, but you can poke a hole with that. You just need a hole big enough to feed your elastic. Now I have elastic because from my traveler's notebook days when I would restring my traveler's notebooks. So I'm just going to use elastic I already have in my stash. But again, as I mentioned, you can buy elastic in pretty much anywhere that sells sewing products. And I'm already noticing I have these holes a little further apart. It's not going to really matter. All right, so it's time to dust off my sewing kit. This is my binding kit. This is what it looks like. So I have thread for sewing in signatures. I purchased this set of elastics from Amazon a while ago. So if you want a variety of different colors of elastic, this is a good way to get them. It's pretty much got every color. And then I have these big spools that I also purchased on Amazon a while ago. This gold elastic is kind of thin, but it could work for a traveler's notebook. Got that from Joanne back in the day. They could also sell that. It's a really bright yellowy looking gold, but I also got this at the beauty supply store. So you can get craft supplies lots of different places. See, what's this? This is an even thicker um, elastic. I think it's probably a little too thick, but I got that from Amazon too. So that's my kit for bindings and elastics. So I'm going to use black. I'm just going to keep it simple. Now, I know there is a way, let me put this away, that you can thread, and I was looking for some instructions on how to do this, where you can thread your elastics so that you can use the same elastic for holding your signatures as for doing the closure piece. There is a way to do that. I just do not remember how to do it. And I've actually seen traveler's notebooks that do that. But let me show you what I'm doing. I'm going up one, down the other, then I'm going to string it all the way through the top, go up through one and down through the other. And that's basically it. It's strong. And you can kind of look at it and see how it's done. But I don't remember how to do it. If anyone can point me in the direction of instructions on how to do that, please do in the comments because I would really prefer to do it that way. So now let's test with a notebook. Just gonna find the center of this one. Okay, and let's see, I'll be on here. Then I'm just gonna tighten this accordingly. We don't want it too tight because we don't want this to gap too much, but we also want it tight enough to hold the notebook in place. I'm gonna tie it like this. Now I just would need to fill this up with some notebooks. Let me see what I got going on here. All right, so I did set this notebook up for gardening, which never actually happened. And I have things in the back here. Funny enough, we just repotted some basil and my green pepper plant. Um, but yeah, so we can put this in. This is a composition notebook that I cut down to half letter size. And it has a clear cover on it. And then I just slid in some half letter size dashboards for the covers. You can see here the composition notebook design peeking out right there. And I don't want to put my lock B. I'm going to leave my lock B with the lock B. What really needs to happen is I need to make myself some more inserts. This is another composition notebook style that has a cover on it. Let's put the lock B back. So I want to add a couple of notebooks in here just to give you an example. But before we do all of that, let's go ahead and do the closure. So I think I can get away with about that much elastic, just enough to wrap around and then make myself a knot. So I'm going to feed, let's take this out, and I'm going to feed both ends through here, bring them into the inside and tie myself a knot. You see how it's bowing up? You kind of want that a little bit, but not too much. You just want your notebook to lay flat once you add it, because it's going to stretch out the elastic and help it hold it in place. Okay, so there's that, like that. Now, if you want your cover to be even more sturdy, what you can do is add some design in the front that's on cardstock. You have room here to open this up and add whatever you want in there. You can put some extra stickers, no pad, no paper, whatever the case may be. But that's the basics of it. And you can decorate it. You can put your stickers on, your pins on it. You don't have to worry about ruining your leather or anything like that. You can put a dangle here. I might like make myself a little dangle to put here. I think I have the perfect thing. I paused for a bit because I was thinking about what dashboards I would use in the covers of this, and maybe I'm moving a little too fast. And I also pulled out a few things here that I would use to decorate. I'm not sure about this one. This is a dangle charm that I made. It's really for a junk journal, but I thought it could work on this. It's a little heavy, um, but I still think it could work. Maybe I just need to change the colorway and change the cord that I use for the beads. I don't know. But these beads here, these are actually from Dollar Tree. They're very heavy glass beads. Um, but I was thinking about that. I also had these little dangles when I was just playing around with the beads. I didn't really have a specific purpose for them, but I thought I could maybe do something with these dangles, the bead dangles. Then I had recently picked this up with the Pan-African colorway, and it's a charm of Africa. Got this from Hobby Lobby on a whim, but I could possibly put this on the elastic as a charm, or maybe make a special dangle to put here. These are just ideas on how to decorate this pouch cover. I also have these baubles. These are really old, and actually this one looks like it's starting to disintegrate. I'm gonna have to see what I can do to clean off the stickiness. It's got like a tacky feeling. This one doesn't have that feeling, but the black one does. But I was thinking I could make something with those if I can clean that black one up. This was also another impulse buy recently from Hobby Lobby. It was the same sale that I picked up the Africa charm from, and I picked these up because I was thinking, oh, these would be cute for something Alice in Wonderland, but I'm thinking the black and white heart would look good on here. And then I have these findings with the lobster clasp in gold and silver that I could possibly use. And this was what I initially thought about using is this fierce, um, it's an iron-on patch, but I could easily just glue this on. This is from Dollar Tree. I have some patches from Dollar Tree that I could use possibly, and some more of these. I have some with pearls on it. Let me show you what else I have. So I also have these. I got the one that says sassy. Could probably use that one too. And this one with the pearl, I think this is probably meant for wedding season, but it says love. Got that one. And then this one also says love with the rhinestone. I'm just tilting them so it's less glare. And I also have these patches that I picked up. And I believe all of this is iron on. Yeah, iron on, but it can easily be glued. I'm thinking maybe a E6000, even though I despise the way that stuff smells. Maybe I could do E6000 and let it sit outside for a little while till the odor dissipates because I really can't stand the smell of that stuff. But those are options of things to decorate this with. I kind of wanted to do like a grown woman version of this. I don't want it to be too whimsical and playful, so that probably would leave these out. But I'm thinking I can use these on my more playful version that I plan on creating. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss when I do that. But I thought let's stick to something more grown lady with this one. But anyway, those are just my ideas. But I'm going to stop here and think about what I want to do to decorate because I want to have fun with this. And I'm not really sure how I would use it, but I just want it to be fun. So I'll be back with more ideas on how to use these pouches and other things from the back to school season. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions about how I put this together, let me know in the comments as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.